Indicators come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, but their purpose is simple: to keep your fly suspended in the water column at a certain depth and to help signal when a fish has taken your subsurface fly. Indicators play a huge role in the success of a standard nymph rig. Yes, there are certain styles of fly fishing that exclude the indicator altogether, but this course isn't going to cover Euro style fly fishing. Future courses covering special topics are in the works though, so stay tuned. Like I was saying, indicators are important when fishing nymphs. Their distance from your flies determines how deep your flies will sink. If the fish are deeper in the water column, that distance will increase. If the fish are at a shallow depth, that distance will decrease. Let's talk about a few common types of indicators. First, thingamabobbers. These little plastic bubbles look very similar to the commonly used bobber in traditional style fishing. These though are lighter than the bobbers used in traditional fishing. I really like and prefer these types of indicators for most of my fly fishing for several reasons. One, they can float a boat. Okay, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but they do a really good job at floating flies of all sizes. They don't sink easily and do a pretty decent job of signaling when a fish has taken your offering. They also attach quickly and easily, which I'll show you in modules 2 and 3. The downfall of these indicators is that they are one of the lesser delicate indicators when it comes to presentation. The larger ones in particular can cause a big splash when landing on the water, even if your cast is delicate. So if you're fishing very skinny and shallow water, these may not be the right choice for you. But for larger waters or in situations when you aren't concerned about a bit of a splash, these indicators are awesome. Another thing to consider when using these indicators is that if the bobber's too heavy for the flies that you're fishing, your flies may be dragged by the indicator, causing your flies to drift unnaturally through the current, which may affect your success. Finally, remember that the heavier your terminal end becomes, the more cumbersome casting can become, and these indicators can get quite heavy. Yarn is another extremely popular type of indicator. They come in various sizes and colors and are great indicators when you're fishing smaller bugs or you need a very delicate presentation. While a big thingamabobber plopping on the water could cause fish to run for their lives, a yarn indicator has the ability to fall very delicately on the water. This facilitates a nice presentation and a delicate cast. Yarn indicators are also fairly easy to attach to your leader and are also adjustable. The downfall of these indicators is that they're not great for fishing heavy nymphs. If you're fishing a giant nymph or a double nymph rig, there's a good chance that yarn is going to sink on you. Sinking indicators will cause you loads of frustration when fishing nymphs and ruin your chances at catching trout. If your indicator is sinking without a fish ever having taken your fly, you're going to be confused all day long and not know when to set the hook when a fish actually eats. So, if you find that your yarn indicator is sinking, you may need to bump up to a bobber style indicator. Foam is another very common type of indicator. These, like yarn, are very good when you need a delicate presentation. So when you're fishing small flies on tailwaters or you're fishing very clear water conditions, these indicators are great to use. They're also extremely easy to attach to your leader, which I'll show you in modules 2 and 3, but you literally just peel an indicator off and stick it onto your leader. The downfalls are that they can't fish very heavy flies without sinking, and moving them up and down your leader throughout the day is not very convenient. Eventually they lose their stickiness and fall off as water begins to soak into the material. In modules 2 and 3, we're going to talk about why the adjustability of your indicator is so important and crucial when you're fishing nymphs. But for now, just understand that that is something to consider when you're selecting indicators. There are absolutely other indicators on the market, but they're pretty much variations of the 3 that we covered here. Which indicator you buy and use really depends on the type of water and flies you're fishing. Ultimately, you need to fish these indicators to see what works best for you. Now you really ought to love me because you have a genuine excuse to get out and fly fish this weekend. Whoever asks, just tell them you're doing research. Time to go